Rachel Hoffman, a young woman with her whole life ahead of her. She lived in Tallahassee, Florida, a vibrant city full of promise. Rachel was known for her infectious laugh, her kind heart, her love for life. She was a free spirit, a recent graduate, navigating her way, dreaming of adventures, unaware of the dark path that lay ahead. Little did she know, fate had a cruel twist in store. One fateful day, her life would take a sharp turn, down a road of fear and despair, a road that would forever change her destiny and the lives of those who loved her. This is the story of Rachel Hoffman, a story of hope shattered and a fight for justice that continues to this day. It was a spring day in 2008. The sun was shining, birds were singing. But inside Rachel's apartment, a storm was brewing. Police officers appeared at her door. Their faces were stern, their eyes unforgiving. They had received a tip, an anonymous one. It claimed Rachel was in possession of drugs, marijuana to be precise, and not just a small amount, enough to warrant serious charges. Rachel's heart pounded in her chest. Fear coursed through her veins. She knew the consequences could be dire. Florida at the time had harsh marijuana laws. Possession of even small amounts could lead to jail time, but the amount they were alleging she had, it could mean years behind bars. The officers entered Rachel's apartment. Their eyes scanned every corner, every drawer. They found what they were looking for, a stash of marijuana and a considerable sum of cash. To Rachel, it felt like her world was collapsing. The walls were closing in. She felt trapped, alone, and utterly terrified. The charges were severe: possession with intent to distribute, a felony offense. The weight of the law was crashing down upon her. She faced a potential 4-year prison sentence. 4 years of her life stolen away for a crime that many considered to be victimless. In the face of this terrifying situation, a glimmer of hope appeared. The police offered Rachel a deal, a way out, become a confidential informant, help them catch bigger fish in the drug trade, and in return, they would drop the charges against her. The weight of the decision was crushing. On one hand, freedom, a chance to rebuild her life. On the other, the dangerous and uncertain world of undercover work. Rachel was torn. She knew the risks involved, the danger she would be putting herself in, but the alternative was unthinkable. Years behind bars, her dreams shattered, her future stolen. She felt backed into a corner, with no other choice. She agreed to become an informant. The weight of a choice. The gravity of her decision weighed heavily on Rachel. She was about to step into a world she knew nothing about, a world of shadows and secrets, a world where trust was a luxury she could not afford. The police assured her she would be safe, that they would be there to protect her. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. She was young and inexperienced, thrust into a dangerous game against hardened criminals, people with no regard for the law or human life. The fear was constant. It gnawed at her. But she had made a deal, and she was determined to see it through. Into the jaws of danger. Rachel's first assignment was to buy drugs from 2 men, known drug dealers with violent reputations. The police equipped her with a wire, a lifeline to their surveillance team. They promised to be close by, ready to intervene if anything went wrong. But as she approached the meeting point, a wave of nausea washed over her. She felt alone, exposed, vulnerable. The men were everything she feared: cold, calculating, menacing. They spoke in hushed tones, their eyes darted around, looking for any sign of trouble. Rachel fought to maintain her composure, to play the part, but inside, her heart was racing. She just wanted it to be over. The betrayal. The deal went down. The drugs and the money changed hands. As the men turned to leave, Rachel felt a surge of relief. It was over. She had done it. She had survived. But her relief was short-lived. As she turned to leave, she noticed the police were nowhere to be seen. They were gone. She was alone, stranded, with 2 dangerous criminals who now knew she was an informant. Panic surged through her. She had been betrayed, left to fend for herself. The men approached her, their faces twisted into menacing grins. They knew her secret, and they were going to make her pay. Rachel's heart pounded in her chest. She knew she was in grave danger. She had walked into a trap, and there was no one coming to save her. Rachel's phone calls went unanswered, her pleas for help ignored. The police, it seemed, had abandoned her, left her to her fate. The details of what happened next are unclear, shrouded in mystery and conflicting accounts. But one thing is certain. Rachel Hoffman never walked out of that meeting alive. She vanished without a trace, leaving behind a void of unanswered questions and a trail of grief and anger. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Still, no sign of Rachel. The police launched an investigation, but it was too late. Their negligence had cost Rachel her life and left her family and friends to grapple with the unbearable pain of her loss. Hope dwindled with each passing day. Search parties scoured the area. Flyers with Rachel's face were posted everywhere, but she was gone, vanished into thin air. The once bright future, now shrouded in darkness. The pain of uncertainty was unbearable. Not knowing was the hardest part. Then, the devastating news arrived. A gruesome discovery had been made. A body had been found in a remote area, miles from where Rachel was last seen. It was her, the vibrant young woman, full of life. Now just a memory. The confirmation of her death sent shockwaves through the community. Outrage at the police department's handling of the case grew. How could they have let this happen? The aftermath, a mother's anguish, a community's outrage. The city of Tallahassee was in mourning, angry, demanding answers. Rachel's mother, Marlena, became the voice of the voiceless. Her grief, a catalyst for change. She channeled her pain into a fight for justice, for accountability. She vowed to hold those responsible for her daughter's death accountable, to ensure no other family had to endure such a profound loss. The community rallied behind her. Protests erupted. Demands for reform of the police department's confidential informant program intensified. The tragic case of Rachel Hoffman became a rallying cry, a stark reminder of the human cost of flawed policies. Justice, delayed and denied. The two men responsible for Rachel's death were eventually apprehended, charged with her murder. But for Rachel's family, it was a hollow victory. Their daughter was gone, and nothing could bring her back. The police officers involved in the botched sting operation faced scrutiny, but no criminal charges. A grand jury found their actions, while negligent, did not warrant criminal prosecution. A bitter pill to swallow for those who loved Rachel. The Hoffman family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Tallahassee. After years of legal battles, a settlement was reached. But no amount of money could ever compensate for the loss of their beloved daughter. The pain of her absence remained, a constant reminder of the tragic consequences of a system that failed her. Remembering Rachel, a legacy of change. Rachel Hoffman's story did not end with her tragic death. Her memory lived on, inspiring change and a push for reform. In 2009, Florida passed Rachel's Law, legislation aimed at protecting confidential informants, providing them with better training, and ensuring their safety. A bittersweet victory. Born from unimaginable tragedy, Rachel's Law became a model for other states, a testament to the power of one person's story to effect change. But the fight for justice continues, to hold those in power accountable, and to ensure that no other family has to endure the pain of losing a loved one in such a senseless way. A broader perspective, the human cost of drug laws. Rachel Hoffman's story is a tragic reminder of the human cost of the war on drugs, the often devastating consequences of flawed policies, and the urgent need for reform. It highlights the need for a more compassionate and humane approach to drug use, one that prioritizes treatment and rehabilitation over incarceration, and recognizes the inherent value of every human life. Rachel's story is a call to action, a reminder that we can and must do better. To create a society where young people like Rachel are not caught in the crossfire of the war on drugs, but instead are given the support and opportunities they need to thrive. Her memory serves as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the fight for justice continues.